Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boots, your go-to podcast for all things women's football. We're diving into the journey of the sport, so lace up and let's begin.
Yay!
So I guess we should probably start by introducing ourselves.
Yes.
You're going to start, Trista.
I'm Trista Fortuna. Well, hello, everyone. I've been a really big soccer fan since I was a kid and grew up in Wyoming and happened to play with a bunch of really talented group of girls, which was really cool coming from such a small town and such a small place. And there's something especially beautiful about soccer and women's soccer that I'm drawn to. And I've always been a really big supporter and fan of the women's national team, like the U.S. national team. And woke up at like 2 and 4 a.m. to watch all of the big time events like the Olympics and the World Cup. But in the last year or so, I've been following all aspects of women's soccer a lot more. Ever since I've been living in Houston with Kylee, we've been going to the Dash games, and my passion has been able to grow a lot more, being able to talk about it with people who are also equally as passionate. And I think another thing that has really grown my interest is seeing how much more attention women's soccer has been getting lately, with more podcasts and more documentaries that really give you like an insider access to teams, players, coaches, clubs, and that it lets us get to know the players better and watch their success grow. And that's kind of where our idea for the podcast began, because we want to give people another way to get into women's soccer and to join in on the conversation. And so, yes, that's my background.
Cool. I can go next.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Katy Stewart. I grew up playing, I guess, soccer, but I call it football, here in Scotland when I was 7. So I played from an early age, just with school friends. Used to play in boys' teams because there was never girls' teams when I was younger. And then when you get to the age of like 13, 14, you're told you can't play with the boys anymore. So I moved into girls' soccer, football, and then I played till I was about 19. Used to really enjoy it. But then I went to university and started going out with friends on Fridays nights and wasn't always feeling the best and performing the best on a Saturday. So kind of decided to give up. I kind of wish I never did, and I wish I kind of kept playing. So it's something I've always wished I'd done, but always loved football. Watched women and men's, but women's was always kind of, when I was growing up, not really on TV. And then I guess say the past, like, I want to say 10 years, mostly like the US women's team is who I used to watch even over here in the UK. And then when I moved with work to the US, I got to go see them. And then I got to see a lot of the NWSL, so going to the Dash games. And then obviously meeting Kylee at work, I got Kylee into it. And she said, hey, my friend Trista loves football. She used to play too. And so we kind of just grew our friendship from there. So I was happy to have people that, especially girls, that like to talk about soccer. Yay. So happy to be here. Happy to talk about women's football.
With both of you like playing soccer growing up, did you guys have like an idol?
So when I was really young, I loved Mia Hamm, and she was like American, right? So it was always like American women that I knew of, because like in Britain, women's soccer really was never on TV.
Okay.
So yeah, Mia Hamm was my little one. I had her poster.
That's so cool.
Yep. I would say the same thing. Like as a kid, I was a really big Mia Hamm fan, but I think, yeah, she just kind of, was a big idol and big person to look up to when it came to women's soccer, for sure.
I actually never played with Barbies, and then they came out with a Mia Hamm Barbie, and that's the only Barbie I ever bought.
Wow.
I
So
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
That's epic. Yeah, so like very different than you two. I kind of joined on this bandwagon of watching and just consuming as much women's soccer as I can. Like, it could even be months ago that I could say that. It was definitely within like the last 6 months that it all started. But it really started with watching more documentaries and going to the Dash games. So our friend Elmer from work started inviting us to the Dash games, and I kept going and having a blast. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then saw the Angel City documentary on Max, and that was like eye-opening and amazing. And then I saw the Arsenal documentary that they put together, the Chelsea one, and then like the Lioness stuff. There's so much stuff out there to get to know all these amazing women that like I just couldn't get enough and still can't. And so, and then during the Women's World Cup this year, I started listening to this podcast called Snacks, and so that introduced me to a lot of different people in the women's football area, and I couldn't get enough of that either. But so wanted to talk about women's soccer with some of my best friends, and here we are. Yeah, excited for it all. Yeah.
And Kylie is now, and listeners, Kylie is now a player.
I played one time now. It went fine. Yeah.
Did you play on the Friday night thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Kylie went to play pickup soccer with me on Friday and did absolutely wonderfully. And what is really funny to me is Kylie was like preparing me that she was going to be doing terribly. She's like, oh my gosh, I just don't expect a lot and blah, blah, blah. And you would have never been able to tell that that was Kylie's first ever game of soccer. Like, no way. So you can even say you're a player of soccer now too, Kylie.
Yeah,
You're right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What position were you?
Oh, it was taking up space. Yeah. Moving it around and running to the right space. So that's what I was told.
We didn't have
it was like
concrete positions.
Yeah.
It was just kind of fill a gap, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
It was super fun. When we got there quite early to warm up because I was very nervous, and that was much needed. And these awesome people let us play with them to begin on like even a smaller field, and that was 4v4, I think. And that was super fun because it was a lot more passing and a lot more kind of building up play as you like went down the field and back. And it made sense to me. And then when we played the actual game of like 8v8, it was a lot more people on the field. So it's kind of harder to, honestly, for me to understand where I should go. But it was pretty fun because there was a lot of really talented people and cool people to pass to. I saw people like kick the ball over people's heads, and their legs could do some things that were just amazing. It was pretty cool. And our goalie was amazing. He stopped so many shots for us, which was really nice. We ended up winning. So that was good.
Oh, awesome. You won your first game.
Yeah. That was great.
That's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was so good. So yeah, that's what we did Friday night. But yeah, what have you been doing over the weekend, Katie?
What have I been doing over the weekend? Friday, I don't think we did much. Saturday, I went to see the new Hunger Games movie.
What'd you think?
I didn't like it.
Okay, that's fine. Did you read the book?
I did not.
Okay.
But I just think it's like a little dark. It was quite dark compared to like the other ones. I don't know. It wasn't vibing with me. I was checking my watch a lot, so. But the funny thing was, we did see this family, like these two moms, come into the cinema with these kids. They must have been like, I don't know, like between like 8 and 10. And I was like, are they really coming to see this movie? So they left like 5 minutes in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think they were in the wrong cinema.
Hunger Games is such
super
a,
interesting.
Like, dark topic. It's hard to read sometimes.
Yeah. I also think this book was like more dark because you're in the mind of like a villain versus a hero, which is what the other ones were before. So
Maybe.
I haven't seen the movie, but I did read the book. I did like the book. So
Yeah. I like the book more than the movie. Yeah. Because
Oh,
the
interesting.
book you could like read um what's his name? Snow's thoughts, and it's hard to do that in a movie, I think. And so like the progression was easier in the book than the movie for that. And I thought the dialogue in the movie was pretty cheesy, but it's also a young adult's book, so I don't know what I should expect there either.
Yeah. Cool.
okay. Should we dive into the football?
No, we should talk about what we're all drinking.
Okay. I'm drinking coffee.
Kind of coffee.
And it is.
How did you brew it?
It's just Keurig coffee
Okay.
from HEB. It is a certain kind. I think it's French something coffee. And it has creamer in it. And it's like a cookie creamer that's seasonal for the holidays. And it's delicious. And this is like the first drink that I've had today, along with maybe some water, due to the fact that I'm a little hungover. So the coffee is giving me life right now.
You look great for being like hungover. I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me, Trista.
Katie, that is so nice of you to say. Okay, Kylie, what are you drinking?
An Americano. So just 2 shots of an espresso with some water. And it's delicious.
No creamer?
Mm-mm.
What
cream, no
kind?
sugar.
What kind of beans are you using?
Sucker for Javalia. I haven't been able to go away from them still. Too
And
good for
you,
me.
you freeze them.
I store my beans in the freezer. Yeah.
Oh.
In an airtight container.
Everyone has to try this because I feel like it cuts the bitterness of the coffee.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Katie, I never made you coffee over here. I'm sorry.
No, you never. Maybe if I come
Sad.
back, you could, like on a business trip, I'm going to be like, ding dong, can I have some coffee?
Okay. I do
Yes.
that.
Do you grind them yourself?
Not Javalia, but for other beans I do. Yeah.
Okay.
If I get any of the other, like HEB branded beans, or if I want to try something from a different coffee shop. My sister got me a coffee advent calendar, and I do need to grind those beans for it. So I'm pretty excited to start doing that.
Coffee, not tea.
I have a tea one too. She got me a tea advent calendar and a coffee advent calendar.
Wow.
Hot beverages. Yeah.
And last night, Kylie got a perfect gift for my elephant for
I did.
the tea and the coffee.
I got a jar of honey. A jar of honey. Yeah.
And you are
That's very
funny.
good. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like special honey?
Yes. Yep.
Ooh.
Raw, unfiltered Texas honey.
Is it from the guy that, do you ever go to the outlets out there by Cyprus? You ever been to those?
No.
Trista, have you ever been there?
Nope. No.
It's like the British thing that we all do is when we go to America, like we go to the outlets. Sarah and I used to go to the outlets all the time. I can't believe you guys don't go. But there's a guy, like, you have to do this U-turn under the freeway to get back on, to go back to the city. And he always used to sell honey out of his car trunk.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Did you
it
put
So I
car
could
wonder
trunk
if
honey?
that honey.
Is it the car
He
trunk
said
honey?
honey. That's what I thought when you were like Texas honey. I was like, that's from that shady guy's trunk.
Amazing. Well, the thing is, it's a white elephant, so Kylie has no idea where it came from.
It could be car trunk honey. Yeah.
It very well could be car trunk honey.
The
I'm
top
just
label
gonna say
on
it
it.
is.
Yeah, I think so.
There's-
We can probably assume. And where else would it come from?
Right?
Yes. Well, now I'm also inspired to go to the outlets. What?
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
I must.
You have to
I
go
must.
And let me know. I'm like, why do you guys not go? It's like a total British thing. Whenever Brits come to the US, it's like, where's the nearest outlets?
Totally. Katie, what are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking Madri lager. It's a Spanish lager from Madrid.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's nice, it's light, and it's Sunday, so, I don't want anything too heavy. Because I've got the Sunday scaries,
That's perfect for curing Sunday scaries.
Yes. Take the edge off.
What are Sunday scaries?
You don't want to go to work on the Monday, You're like, weekend's over. Don't want to go to work.
And you just feel like a little bit anxious for the upcoming week. So it's called Sunday scaries.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
You never heard of that? Then you dread
No.
your work. I mean, I don't dread it, but I'm just like, I don't want to go to work. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to go to work, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I know.
I'd rather podcast all day.
Yes. Talk to my friends. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Any other life updates?
I only have one. It's a funny story if you have time.
Oh, totally.
We have time.
So I'm getting used to my new commute to work. So I live I want to say about 24 miles from Aberdeen, which is northwest of Aberdeen. So Aberdeen's on the east coast, so go 24 miles northwest. And I've been getting the train. Takes 23 minutes. So Sarah drives to the train station. The train station is in this small town called Inverurie. You can drop you at the car park and you can see the tracks from the car park, right? Don't think big train station like in the US, tiny train station. So it was pouring down with rain because we had an yellow weather warning, loads of rain, meaning flooding. So Sarah was like, I've got time before she was going to work. She was like, just wait in the car. So I was like, okay. So then I saw a train pull in. And so I was like, oh, there's the train. So I gave her a kiss goodbye and I ran onto the train. And I sat down and I was like, oh, texting my best friend Billy. I took a selfie of myself, all wrapped up. And I had my hood up because it was in the train and it was raining when I was going there. And then the train started to leave. And then I noticed it was going the wrong way.
I'm so sorry.
It was going north. And I was like, and then on our trains, that comes when they start to leave, it goes the same accent comes on and it's this is a train for Inverness. And I was like, oh crap. Inverness is, I don't know how many miles, it's at least 3 hours north of Aberdeen, right?
No.
How?
And sometimes we have our trains aren't super regular, and sometimes we have a express train from Aberdeen to Inverness because not a lot of people get off between those stops. They're kind of small towns. So I saw the train conductor come, and I was like, I'm on the wrong train, and I showed him my ticket, and he was like, and then it came along the little sign, the next stop is Inch. So Inch is 7 miles north of me. And I was like, oh, get off at Inch. And he was like, yeah, get off at Inch. And he was like, and you're very lucky because he said if you just hop over the other side of the platform, which is an even smaller town than Inverurie, right? So the train station is literally just a building, a tiny little house-looking building. And he was like, the train for Aberdeen will come. And he says, and then just tell the other train conductor your story, and hopefully he won't charge you. So I waited, and then I managed to get back on. So luckily, I wasn't super late, but I had a visions of having to text my new manager to be like, hey, I'm not going to be until 3 p.m. because, I'm on my way to Inverness and back. So
At that point, it's just go work from home. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I'd be working on the train that day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, I'm glad that it wasn't that bad, but I could see how that could be very bad. So now, are you you know how to get on the train? Have you done it?
Again?
Yeah.
That was Thursday, so we'll see on Tuesday how I go. But normally you have one track for going north and one for south, right? Or whichever way. that little train station's confusing because I got on the same side as what I did the other day, and it went south and not north. So they
Oh,
changed the
gosh.
train side. So I'm like, I'm just going to have to make sure I read the signs. Like, what I should have done. But so
Oh,
that was my
gosh.
fun story for the week.
Thank
Yep.
you. Yeah. Sorry.
Good luck this week.
Yes.
Yes. It's the last week, so hopefully I'll sort it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What about you? Tell me like your white. So you did White Elephant and you were boozing.
We did White
Yeah.
Elephant. We were boozing. White Elephant was very competitive, actually. And I brought, and it was supposed to be local. So I brought local coffee and like a local mug from Segundo Coffee Shop in Ironworks. So it was, it's very good coffee. And it did get stolen a couple of times. So that made me feel good that I had brought a good gift. Although Kylie's, I think, was a little bit more competitive than mine. And then we did play some games, and there was one game where we had like cotton balls on a table, and you had to scoop them with like a ladle scoop into a bowl with blindfolded, and obviously the goal was to scoop as many cotton balls as possible into the bowl. And after watching a couple of people go, and they did well, like they got a lot of cotton balls into the bowl, I was like, oh, this is easy. Like I got this. So I went up to the table, was blindfolded, and I think we had like 30 seconds to do it. And everyone was cheering me on as I was like putting the
Did you have to
putting
go
cotton
yourself,
balls.
or were you in a team?
No, it was just myself. It was just me.
Oh, wow.
I think the winner ended up getting 41 cotton balls into a bowl, by the way. So that gives you kind of a idea of how well people are
Easy
doing.
you thought it was.
Yeah. So I mean, also everyone was cheering me on. I was getting like a lot of cheers. They were like, "Wow, good job!" Oh, whoa! And so then when my time was up, our friend Elena goes to take off my blindfold, and I only see one cotton ball, my bowl. And I even asked her before, I was like, I got a lot of them, huh? Like, I know it because of the cheering. She was like, you got so many. And also, come to find out later, Katie, I didn't even get one cotton ball. Delana put it in there for me, so I didn't feel bad.
Oh, man.
When I went back to Kylie later, Kylie was crying because she was laughing so hard. So at least,
Well, at least
it was funny
you
for
were the
people.
entertainment, right? Like,
Definitely. I
Always
really
has to be
want a redo, so I hope Delana has this game again next year.
Just go into your apartment. You're just practicing scooping cotton balls into a
Yeah.
bucket.
I'm ready. I'm ready for round 2.
and then at the last minute, they changed the game.
Can you imagine? No, I will make sure I advocate for that game to be there. I must redeem myself. I must.
That's hilarious.
So good.
Kylie, you have to tell about your white elephant gift.
Yeah. So I was in Austin a few weeks ago, and I saw this calendar at a store we were at, and it was just a calendar of butts on things. So it had like Saturn with like just a butt there, or like a rainbow, and like
taco.
the clouds were butts, and then a taco and butts, and it was just a calendar with all that on it. And so that was like something people really wanted. And then along with the gift, I got some cool candles that were like shaped like other things. So like a bowl of Fruit Loops. It was really cool. And then a pecan
And it
pie
smelled
one.
very nice.
Yeah. And that was from a local shop in this place called Ironworks, which is also where Segundo Coffee is. But it got stolen quite a bit. Yeah, the butts on things, people were really about it.
People like butts.
Who doesn't?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun. It was a great night. And then we went to we went to Lights in the Heights and walked around and saw lots of Christmas lights in the Heights in Houston. There were
Nice.
bands playing. It was quite fun. It was raining.
it was really nice. It was raining.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It was, but we just maneuvered with, we just were vibing with the night. And Kylie was wearing her hair up, so she was in a better place than me. I did not have my hair up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was it? Is it still hot or is it like cooling
Yes.
down?
It was 80 degrees yesterday. 80. Yeah. Today
Yeah.
it's finally cooled down though. It's 57, but like
Okay.
yeah, it was hot. Yeah.
So hot
It's-
and rain with the long hair.
Yeah,
I do not
and it's
like
also it's really weird celebrating Christmas when it's 80 degrees
Yes.
outside.
Yeah.
That is
It's not
that is
natural.
something that's crazy. No,
Yes. Well, that sounds like a fun night. So, what were you drinking? Beers?
Yeah. Beer.
beers, and then we
Seltzers.
had a
Delana
cocktail.
made a cocktail.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Apple pie cocktail. Delicious.
It was
Shout out
amazing.
Delana.
hmm
Wine.
We had wine.
Mixed.
Oh, we mixed everything. And then we got to
We even had cocktails later.
yeah, we went to a bar after and then we
No
went
wonder you guys were not feeling great. I mean, I love it. I love it. But when I do that nowadays, right off.
It was
I mean, I'm surprised
over
you're
a long period of time, so it's actually quite fine. But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it was over a long period of time.
How long?
Or
Oh,
to
also-
midnight.
We did have
Oh, you were
just
gonna say 4
random
hours.
beer.
Like, that's not a long period of time.
Oh, all the beers.
We had random beer in Lights in the Heights from
Oh,
people with
yeah,
kegs.
from kegs. Yeah.
From where?
Yeah,
People
so
were walking around with kegs in their wagons, and so you could go
Oh.
up to them and ask them for beer to refill your can that you already emptied. It was quite
Yeah.
nice.
and people were doing like keg stands and stuff. It was a time.
Yeah,
Yeah. That sounds fun.
it was.
It was
Yeah, vibing.
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 It's Christmas, so everybody overindulges at Christmas. I mean, it's what you have to do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true.
I think so. That's why I've eaten so much pie today. It is hungover
That's
pie.
hilarious.
It's fine.
That sounds nice, honestly.
We should get into it. Should we get into the?
Let's talk about the soccer.
The main topic, yeah?
Yeah. So today's main topic, we're going to be talking about how European teams qualify for the Olympics, because it's actually quite confusing and I think unfair, but like that's just my personal opinion. So we can even talk about some of the. Yeah, that's what we'll talk about today. Yeah. So kind of to start off with that, there's something called the UEFA Women's Nations League. And that group stage ended on Tuesday this week. And so just to recap the scores of the Tuesday games, here's who I was playing. So we had in Group A, we'll only discuss Group A, but there's, I think, A, B, and C kind of leagues in the UEFA Nations League. But in A1, you've got England versus Scotland that happened on Tuesday, and then the Netherlands versus Belgium. England won 6-0. Netherlands won against Belgium 4-0. And that we can talk a bit more about all of the implications that game had right after this, but I'll just do a recap of everything right now. In Group A2, you had Austria versus Norway. Austria won 2-1. And then you had Portugal versus France. France won by 0-1. A3, Denmark versus Iceland. Iceland won 1-0. Wales versus Germany. That was a tie, 0-0. And then Spain versus Sweden. This was a goal-scoring game. 8 goals were scored. So Spain scored 5, and then Sweden scored 3 goals. It was first half was amazing. Sweden was just like on fire, and then Spain leveled up, I think, right after halftime, and then they just took it away towards the end of the game, just like rapid fire boot kicking situation. And then Italy versus Switzerland. Italy beat Switzerland 3-0. But maybe I should say nil. What do you think, Katie?
I would say nil.
Yeah.
What do you say, Trista?
0.
So our listeners are just gonna have to figure out what we're saying. Because you guys
Yep.
say tie. I say a draw. That was a draw.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That was my bad. Maybe I
it's
should
fine.
really say draw. I think draw.
Well, you can just say whatever. Like, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes. That is so interesting. So now this means that France, Germany, Netherlands, and Spain are all in the Women's Nations League finalists. They're the Women's Nation League finalists.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also qualifiers for the Olympics?
Yes.
So that's kind of how it goes, yeah. The
first
teams.
phase is used for Olympic qualification every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that also means that France, Germany, Netherlands, and Spain are in the Olympics.
No.
No, that doesn't mean that.
Yeah, so that there's going to be 2 more matches that happen. I think 3 more matches that happen, but the top 2 teams go to the Olympics, and France no matter what, because France are a host country.
Yeah, so there's like the semifinals, and then whoever wins the semifinals will play the final to win the Nations League. And I think that all you're getting there is rankings to help your overall ranking points. And then, like Kylie said, I think if France are already through, so if France get through, then it's the next best 2 teams. So whoever gets the final first, and then the 3rd place team will go, because France qualify because they're Olympic hosts. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. But officially, Sweden will not be able to go.
Nope.
And officially, England will not be able to go.
Great Britain. Yeah.
Great Britain. That's a whole nother
Confuse
topic.
everybody now.
It's so
Okay,
crazy.
let's talk about that. And between the two of you, you know a lot. What makes up the team of Great Britain?
So when we compete in the Olympics, we are Team GB. Great Britain is not like defined a country, right? Great Britain is made up of Scotland, England, Wales, and actually not even Northern Ireland.
Right?
So
Isn't
Great
that
Britain is
crazy?
made up of the island. The countries are all together. And Northern Ireland's over with Ireland, right? So Great Britain is just the countries that are all joined together. So Team GB is people from Scotland, England, and Wales. And then just as another little fact, when we say the United Kingdom, that's when we include Northern Ireland. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
But Great Britain is not technically a country. So when we play soccer, we play as Scotland, we play as England, we play as Wales, we play as Northern Ireland. So it's kind of a funny thing, to be fair. So yeah, Team GB would be, like Serena was going to be the manager, and she would pick players from any of those countries for Team GB. That's what she could have done. But they never qualified. And I think technically, if England had won, we would go through. I even think, and I need to confirm, like, if Scotland were amazing, right, and Scotland went through, Team GB would have a place, and the same as Wales. I think it's only one of us that needed to go through. But the smaller ones are not as good. Us Welsh and Scottish. So we really just look to England. So yeah. That's how it works. But it's weird, because when we play football, it's literally countries, which is kind of how it should be. It's a bit of a weird thing in the Olympics.
Do you know why that's a thing for the Olympics?
I don't know why.
But that means, like, for all other sports, it's also under the GB kind of flag, isn't it? As opposed to the individual, like Like
Only. The other sports in the Olympics, you mean?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But here's
So
another
interesting.
wild thing. Have you ever heard of the Commonwealth Games?
No.
So the Commonwealth Games are countries that are like part of now the King, used to be the Queen's countries. So lots of Caribbean countries that are still affiliated with Great Britain from way back the years when we, took over all these countries. They still have like the king as their monarch. They still like have him as their royal family. That's part of the Commonwealth, what we call the Commonwealth. So every 4 years we have a Commonwealth game. So like Australia, and then weirdly we do not compete in that as Team GB. We compete as Scotland, Wales, England, right? Like, what is stupid? Stupid. But you guys don't. You guys don't compete, and you probably don't even put it on your have much coverage on your TVs because you don't compete, right? So like Brazil aren't there, but lots of Caribbean countries, so like Jamaica, Australia. I'm trying to think. Canada compete in the Commonwealth because they still like have a part of like the king as their monarch, but some of them want to leave, so it's very interesting. You should Google it.
What? That is really interesting. I had no idea that even existed at all.
So there you go. But Team GB, yes, Kylie, you're right. Every sport in the Olympics, we compete as Team GB.
So interesting. But you guys don't send a men's football team, only women's. If you do qualify, is that right?
Yes. So here's Lil Katie's take on it. The men's, I believe, like the Scottish Football Association, who are in charge of like the Scottish Women and Men's League, and then the English Football Association, because we have such a long history of playing like men's football, right, for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
There's such a big rivalry that they don't put a team in together. It's like we just, both sides, we want to beat them. Like they're our biggest rival. Like when Scotland play football, we don't always play our best, but whenever we play England, we always raise our game.
Yeah.
So the men's team never played together and never has played together.
It just can't.
It's just, and then the reason I think they always had a World Cup, they always had a European Championships, and I think like the women's maybe didn't have as much, right? So they all kind of banded together to be like, well, it's another competition we can win. Right, because they didn't have as many opportunities as the men.
That makes sense.
Maybe that's kind of why but I believe like the English FA and the Scottish FA would not agree on a Team GB for men.
That is wild.
It's got to be hard. It sounds like it would be hard. It seems like.
Well, and even like you had.
And stuff.
Yeah, and even you had said in the past, right? Like if, and maybe this had happened last Olympics. If England had qualified and were going to the Olympics, it would probably be like the English team that would be going.
And then just like a sprinkle of Scottish players and Welsh.
Right. So the last Team GB, I think we had, I want to say one Scottish. So Caroline Weir made the team.
Okay.
And maybe one Welsh.
So
generally
Team GB was just
England.
Team England, yes. But it's not to say that it necessarily would be like that, but generally that tends to be how it is, so. But they have like 60 million people. Scotland has like 5.5 million. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a huge difference in populations, and Wales has less than Scotland, I believe. So, so if you look at it from a numbers, right? But still, I do think if Team GB made it, I do think she could have picked at least 2, maybe 3 Scottish players should make that Team GB team. So I would have been interested to just see what Serena did. Like, would Serena just pick her Lionesses? So I'm kind of bummed.
Hard to say. Yeah. So yeah, we should talk about that too. So England will not be going / Great Britain will not be going to the Olympics. based on the results of Tuesday, England versus Scotland. And they had lost to Belgium for their first game, right? England. And then they had to beat the Netherlands.
They got beat by the Netherlands as well when they played the Netherlands in the Netherlands. So they lost twice, the Lionesses.
Yes.
They lost
2 losses,
twice.
no draws. Mm-hmm.
And then they had to beat Scotland by a certain amount of goals. And the Netherlands had to lose to Belgium by a certain amount of goals in order to decide who moved forward between England versus the Netherlands. Right?
Yeah, they had to outscore each other. So I think if they both won, they'd be even on points.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Netherlands had maybe, 3 goals better goal difference?
3 goals, yes.
Yes.
So England had to, whatever Netherlands won by, England had to add 3 to that to win.
Yes.
Yes.
To beat them. It was crazy.
And it was an amazing Tuesday at 2 p.m. for Houston time. It was amazing. Oh my gosh.
It was a wild game to watch because we're also watching so Netherlands and Belgium are playing at the exact same time as England and Scotland. And so we're watching and it'll be, England has enough goals at this point, 4-0 or whatever. And then, the Netherlands just scored. They need to score another goal. And it was just going back and forth a little bit on whether or not England would be able to pull it out.
Yeah. So Great Britain was going to move on in the UEFA Champions League up until the 90th minute when the Netherlands scored. Then a minute later, Lucy Bronze scores her header from a Tooney assist. So then that means that at this point, Great Britain is moving on, or England is moving on in the UEFA Nations League and still possibly qualifying for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that was in the 93rd minute, I think, of that game. And then that game ends. And there's just a few more minutes left in the Netherlands-Belgium game. And an amazing header by Eggarola. How would you say that? Yeah?
Yeah, I wrote her name down. Where is her name? She scored a great goal.
2 great goals in extra time after the 90 minutes, right? Sending them
wild.
It was amazing nuts. And heartbreaking and amazing all at the same time.
Yes, but the Netherlands
the 2 goals. She scored the 2 goals in extra time. The same.
She did. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And her last goal to send them, I wrote that down. I watched some of the goals back this weekend, and I wrote it down as my goal of the week. And you know why? Because she gets the ball at the edge of the box, and then she plays it out to the left, and she continues her run into the box. And then her friend, I don't know who it was, but crossed in. And then she just bang, heads it. And it was a great header. And it was you just made that play. And she just scored as well. She was just so fixated on getting them there. I was just to make that goal for yourself. I thought that was pretty cool.
So cool. So cool.
And then I couldn't pick an England goal to be the goal of the week because I'm Scottish and I'm just not going to do that when they score against us.
I was going to pick Lucy Bronze's header. I thought that flying header across was amazing.
It was a good goal.
Yeah, right timing.
My goal of the week.
It was also the timing and the emotion that was kind of in with it that did it for me as well. Because it was I just saw on my phone that Netherlands had scored, and I was like, oh no, that's it. And then Bronze is just flying across the field as Tooney delivers this ball and just heads it in, and it was same side.
It was beautiful.
Right? So what is that called when it doesn't go across the goal, but it goes on the left side of the goalie?
Near post.
Near post. It was a near post header, and it was good.
Yeah, goalie should have done better.
Whoa.
But it was a firing header. To be fair,
it was a beautiful goal.
At that point, I was like, what a moment for Lucy. I thought that was, like, even as a Scottish fan, I was, like, it's hard to say for England scoring against us, but I do like the women's English team, and I was like, for Lucy Bronze, because I don't know if she'll get another Olympics. I don't know if she'll be too old, you know, like if she will retire by then, but I was like, ah, I was a little gutted, because I think when she scored, I think she thought she'd gotten them.
Yeah.
So did I. I thought that was, I didn't think the Netherlands were going to come back and score again after Lucy had gotten that goal.
Yeah. Me neither. And
That
I
was
was
beautiful.
watching it on YouTube, and I was like, the Netherlands scored again, and I was just like, unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it.
Shock. It was also shock because right after the game, all of the England players were like all huddled together, just paying attention to the Netherlands, Belgium. Like they couldn't even celebrate a 6-0 win because they had to...
Against their rivals. Like,
Yeah.
They hate us as much as we hate them. Like, I was listening to Rachel Daly, and she was like, yeah, like, there's no way, you know, because there was some questions going around with Scotland, just let England roll, like, thrash them, and, like, the Scottish captain was like, we're sports professionals, and, like, they're our oldest rivals, like, if there's anyone that we want to beat them. And then Rachel Daly was on Rachel Corsi's podcast, and she was saying the exact same, like, the English team want to beat Scotland, like, no matter what, that's the team they want to beat. Like, we just have such a big history of rivalry that we just love to beat each other. Like, it means so much. And so when we got thrashed, it was hard. But what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think Scotland, this is a question, do you think Scotland let England win so that they could go to the Team GB? Or did you feel like they were competing? Like, it wasn't giving it to them?
I thought they were competing. Because, like, I mean, obviously they were trying to score goals. They were trying to do what they could. Like, Mary Earps' save towards the end of the game was amazing. Like, that could have also just sent both of them packing. Like, they were putting their all in everything. I don't think that you could save.
Yeah.
Well, plus when you think about it as well, of like what chance does Scotland have to send a lot of their players to the Olympics? When you're thinking about it like that, wouldn't have as big of an investment probably in just letting like England beat them. And it was a very competitive game. But also, I think England really showed up too. Like they knew what they had to do, and they really showed up, and they did it. And also, they had some just beautiful goals. Like there wasn't a lot of just truly, just difficult mistakes that Scotland made. I don't think. Like England just showed up, and they played really well, and they scored some amazing goals. My goal of the week was Laura James. Her second goal that she had, she scored it right after scoring, like 1 minute before that.
Right?
Yes, off of her first goal was the deflection. Her second goal was just getting the ball right outside of the box, and she just shot this like rocket right into the net, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful goal. So I thought that was a really impressive shot. But
up till they got their second goal, I felt like Scotland actually grew into the game. Like they were pressing better. We had that penalty shout. And then they got that second goal, which was like deflection, right? So completely wrong-footed the keeper. I was like, oh, that's just real cruel. I hate when you see that because it's like there's nothing you can do. And then I think their heads just went down. And immediately James scored that beautiful third goal. And then I think at that point it was like it just destroyed them. And then Mead, right before halftime, it's like, okay, don't let another goal in before halftime. And then she scored another great goal. Again, I think it was a near post goalie.
I think it was.
Goalie at the near post. But I was happy because it was like I like Beth Mead. It was nice to see her score her first goal for England right after ACL. So, but at that point I was like, game over. Like, as a Scotland fan, I was like, we just gotta not lose too much more, right? So it was kind of gutting.
I did think that we were going to see a Scotland goal at least before the end of the game. But definitely like towards the end of the second half and like more into the second half, England dominated a lot more than they did in the first. So, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like when it came in at halftime, I was like, it didn't feel like a 4-0 game. Like, I didn't think they were all over us. They weren't dominating like possession and stuff. So I think that would have been hard for them to maybe swallow. Like, they just took their chances. They didn't have a huge amount in the first half, but then in the second half, yeah, they were kind of all over us.
So another kind of shocker is that Sweden will also officially not be making it to the Olympics. And they're ranked what? Second? Third?
In FIFA rankings?
Yes. I'm not sure.
Rankings.
But they are historically very, very good in large tournaments like the World Cup and the Olympics. And they're very, very strong competitors. And they're also, I think there's some sort of statistic that the U.S. women's national team has played them more than anybody else in big tournaments. So it's kind of sad to not see them go because they're so talented. Sorry, Kylie, what is
FIFA
it?
is ranked first right now.
Sweden?
Sorry, Sweden is ranked first right now on FIFA rankings.
Yes.
Wow.
So
it's Sweden, Spain, then US.
Yes. So it's so interesting to see that they will not be going to the Olympics.
Well, this is my issue. This is like why I think it's unfair. You've got Sweden, Spain, England, France, Germany, Netherlands, all in the top 7 of FIFA rankings. And out of that, like, you can only send
3
2 teams
to
the Olympics. And given you have France, that's already...
Yeah, as long as
already
there's a
going.
European host. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I just feel like that's... it's so interesting. And I didn't know this at all until like just looking into it a bit more this year. Yeah.
I do think that it's interesting because the Olympics seems like a very, very big and competitive tournament. But in actuality, with how it's set up, it doesn't seem like you've got the most competitive teams there. So other tournaments like the World Cup probably seem a little bit more like fair in terms of who you've got going and how good those teams are. It doesn't seem as if the Olympics is as good of a representation of the competitive teams that you have. So whoever wins out of that, it's hard to, I don't know, see it
So you're
as
the best in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's hard to see it as that when you have Sweden, who is not even going, and they're ranked number 1.
Yeah. It's like, I guess the Euros is even maybe a better representation than the Olympics. Yeah. Right now.
I find it, like, to me, because I watched so many like soccer games when I was younger and it was mostly men's, like, and the men's never played in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't think like the Olympics for like soccer for me means that much, but I know it will mean a lot for players, right, to win an Olympic medal. But like when I was thinking about it before we played on Tuesday, I was like, I kind of hope Team GB don't get through because, like I was saying, like England have played for full seasons and full summers since 2021, I think. The 2021 Olympics, 2022 we had the Euros, 2023 we had the World Cup, and then 2024 we'd have Olympics, then 2025 they'll have the Euros, which they're going to qualify for. So I'm like, that's 5 full years where they do not get like a proper summer break. So like the WSL goes from like August to May, and then normally you have like a summer, right, before it starts again. And if they're playing, I'm like, no much wonder they're all injured. So I think it would be good for, especially more the Lionesses. Like Scotland and Wales haven't been at all the competitions, but for the Lionesses, I think the rest will actually do them well.
Yeah, and it's important because, well, even just looking at this tournament compared to where they're playing in the leagues too, they're playing so many games like a week. Like if you're on the national team and you're playing for your club, it's just
and
wild.
But it's just it's mind blowing to me. You've got your national team games if you're on the national team. If you're in the Champions League, you have Champions League games. Then you have your own leagues games. It's just
And it's
so
sometimes
much.
like domestic cup games as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they're playing a lot, like a lot more than what they used to because of, I guess, the growth, right, of the game,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing, but um, you do wonder if there's like a correlation there with all the ACLs they're getting and like the standard of pitches and the training facilities. Is that got anything to do with it because it's exploded so fast? I don't know, but so in like a bittersweet thing, I'm thinking England will be in better shape for the Euros, given they'll get a rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good thing.
Which to me is
Yes.
like a soccer fan, I'd feel more like proud of them winning the Euros than I would the Olympics. Which is kind of weird to say. It's just like I say, I always think of the Olympics more like track and field and swimming and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't really associate it as being such a big soccer triumph.
And I've always
Mm-hmm.
associated with such like a soccer triumph because just the US have always gone, I guess, and
Yeah.
they are the most winningest women's team since what was it, 96 when it started? Is that when it I think that's when it all started for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I've always been a big like supporter of women's soccer in the Olympics because the US do always go. But it
Yeah.
has been eye opening to kind of understand the dynamics of how teams are qualifying and going to the Olympics and the competitiveness of what that looks like. And then thinking, oh, well, it's actually just so different compared to the World Cup or other tournaments that are really big world tournaments. And it makes you think about it a little differently.
So like with like Sweden not making it, right? First time they haven't not made it. My jaw-dropping thing is like I didn't know Spain's never made it. Like what in the world?
Yeah.
This is crazy. Yeah.
I didn't know
Like
that. That's a crazy fact. So
I
Spain
think
have never
that's
made
true.
it to Olympic Games. Wow.
No.
I would believe it. Like you said, like to be fair, until you guys started like talking about it, I never really thought about like the lack of teams that are in it from a women's soccer. It's really like a real short list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great Britain's only qualified twice.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yes, it is really wild to think about. And so I think it will also be really awesome to see Spain in the Olympics, especially coming off of being World Cup champions. So that's
Right?
going to be really exciting to see. Plus, I think they have a lot of some of the best players in the world right now. So
They do.
They do. Yeah.
that will be very interesting to watch and to see. And I am excited that they have maybe an opportunity to go. And so it will be interesting to see who does qualify.
So you know when or if, I shouldn't say when, but
Mhm.
if Team USA win it, you know I'm going to wind you up and say it doesn't mean anything because the best teams weren't there.
Seemingly
Missed
easy shot.
opportunities.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And England also did have a couple missed opportunities as well. I would say too.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
I will say, like earlier in the Nations League, they struggled. So when we played them in England, they only narrowly beat us 2-1, and they got beat by Belgium. So they did go through a patch. So I think they themselves, I think they're starting to recover
point.
again, but they did go kind of down a little, which I think is expected, right? You can't always be on top.
Yeah.
I don't think in the modern game of women's football because it's so competitive. But you know what? I've researched something. You know, we were talking about no VAR and how there was no VAR
Yes.
in the England Scotland. So I researched. So when England got beat by Netherlands, right? It was, I think, 2-1. I think.
Yes.
Netherlands won it through an offside goal.
Yep.
But there was no VAR. So if there was VAR, England would win that group and England would be through to the next round and not the Netherlands. I mean, how sickening must that be?
That's got to be super sickening. I think that's so
That's
weird
wild.
that there's no VAR there, but there's VAR in the Olympics. And like, I think there's VAR in the Olympics. I don't know. Don't. trust
I
me
would
right
assume.
now.
So I
Should be.
Googled it, like, why in the Nations League. So apparently, some of where the games are being played. So when Scotland played England in England, we played in Sunderland. Sunderland play in the Championship, so not the Premier League. VAR doesn't exist. So that stadium didn't have it. So like when we played at Hampden, Hampden has it. It's Scotland's national stadium. And then when England played Netherlands in the Netherlands, and I guess when Netherlands played England at Wembley, those stadiums had VAR, the technology there. But because they play some of their games in stadiums that don't have VAR, they obviously said no VAR for the whole competition. And I'm just like, well, just put them in stadiums that has the technology. Like, there are so many stadiums that Scotland and England could have played at, like, to put them in a VAR. And I'm sure I read somewhere, like, maybe Spain played, I can't remember what country it was, but they played in a stadium with no VAR. And I'm like, just play at the big, like, all of these countries have huge men's, like, leagues and teams. They all have VAR. So just put those games, they're national games, so let's just put them in stadiums with VAR.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yes.
I if I was a player, I'd be really, like, VAR to me is, it's good and it's bad, right? And it doesn't always get things right. Like, even in the Premier League, they sometimes make really bad calls. And in the Champions League the other week, they made a terrible call, and the actual VAR referee got removed for the game the next night because he made a bad call. But I feel like if you're going to have it, you just need to have it. Like, it must be so frustrating to play with it and then not play with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it also is so interesting how big of an impact it can have. And it doesn't really seem fair to judge games with VAR and then without, and then with VAR and then without. It seems like in order for it to be the most fair, it should either be all without or all with. And if, I don't know, just like you had said, if because of where we're at with technology and because of the access, why aren't they playing in stadiums with VAR to make it the most fair? That
Right.
seems
It's
wild.
just simple. It's simple. Just like, there are stadiums in these countries that have the technology. Play there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are representing your country with these games. Like, you should be playing in the stadiums that have that technology. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Especially when you look it back and then you're like, there you go. There's an example. Now, I mean, I love the Netherlands, so I don't mind. But do you know what I mean? Like, if I was like if I was born in England, I would be probably pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the little Scottish in me kind of giggles a little.
Okay, with that, we can move to kind of a fun topic. If you could name your goal of the week, your header winner, sending Netherlands to the finals, what would you name that goal?
If I could
Would you
name
give
the
it you just have to name it something.
Like that was a.
Like, my Lucy Bronze goal is called the Flying Squirrel. She flew through the air, smoked it with her head, and it went in. Yeah. I could maybe even like golden flying squirrel, you know? It was just amazing.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to name the Lauren James goal Rocket because it was just such a hard and just such a great goal, and it was
Rocket.
so direct. Yeah, it was like a rocket. So I'm going to name it the Rocket.
Okay. I don't know what I don't know what kind of animal. I would say she was so tenacious, right? Like, she just scored. She picks the ball up on the box, and then she's like throwing it out on the wing, and then she's throwing herself in the box, and then she just kind of popped up, dunk, and dunked it in. So I'm kind of like, what animal goes whoop? Like a gopher,
Well,
maybe?
it doesn't have to be an animal. What if it could even be called like the Playmaker or something like that because she
the playmaker.
made that
There
happen.
You go. That was the playmaker. Like, she
Yeah.
was just like, I've just scored a goal. We need another. Here's me getting the ball at the edge of the box. Bang to my friend, and I'm going to run. And she's like, put it here. Stay right here.
Right off this golden forehead right here.
Yeah, his big forehead.
Perfect.
So first and foremost, hopefully that helps you understand how European teams qualify for the European women's teams qualify for the Olympics and kind of some of the history that has gone along with it and how even like Great Britain can qualify and how there's differences with Great Britain, England, Scotland, and Wales, and all of that. So much history, so much knowledge that I had no idea until we started talking about it a lot. But yeah, it's fun to look into and look up and just do some comparisons on what's happened in the past. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
with that.
And I have
So-
one special shout out. Can I just do one shout out to
Yes.
my favorite player, Danielle
Yes.
van de Donk? She hit 150 caps. What a babe.
150 caps. Congratulations to DVD. Let's go. Danielle
Yes.
Van de Donk.
She's
All right.
so impressive.
We're going to play a little game. Just a small little game. And we can even start it off with Van de Donk, okay?
Okay.
Katie, guess how tall Van de Donk is?
Ooh. 5'5".
5'5". Okay.
I think she's 5'3".
You think 5'3"?
Yeah, she's tiny. I think she's small.
See her height anywhere.
I'm 5'3". You think I'm tiny?
Yes. Katie, I do.
I've always wondered what you thought of me, Tristan.
She is 5'3".
Oh, score.
I was right.
Nice. Your favorite? Oh. Wait, she's as tall as you then. Katie, how do you feel
Yeah.
about that? That's a
You're
perfect
the same
match.
height.
Yeah.
That's a perfect match. Okay, another one. Katie, how tall do you think Mary Earps is?
Ooh. 5'6".
Wow, you think it's 5'6"?
Yeah. You, do you think she's smaller?
I thought she was like 5'10", 5'11". No, I said
I'm really
6 foot.
terrible at height. I'm really terrible at height.
I am not good at it either. I thought she was 6 foot.
I thought that she was 5'10" because she has very good posture and she just looks, and maybe that's the part of being a goalkeeper, right? You need to make yourself
Yeah.
look big. Like that's
Yeah.
important for a
Intimidating.
goalkeeper. But she is in fact only 5'8".
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was surprising to me because she's just like all over the place in that goal. I thought she was taller, but maybe she just is so athletic, and she also, I mean, she has great posture. She really does. She's just like
Yeah.
so straight
She's
up.
got great posture, high standards, and just carries herself well.
She's
She's always a
amazing.
6 foot person to me. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you guys one because I think this one's hard to tell.
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer, but I'm going to go Google it. How tall is Lindsay Horan?
Oh gosh, I think she's the same height as me, 5'6".
I also think she's 5'6".
Oh, okay.
You're 5'6", Kylie.
Yeah. I was like, Mary Earps is way taller than me.
You said 5'6".
Yeah.
Yes.
Both Trista. Okay. Final answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
5'9".
She's taller than Mary Earps. This is madness. This is madness.
What?
I always see her as quite tall. Like, you know, when she plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, she also
Didn't think she
wins a
was as
lot of
tall as
balls out of the
that.
air.
She's a header girl. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's good with her
She gets
head.
a lot. She is wild. I had no idea. Well, this is going to be a reoccurring
Quiz.
bit.
Yes. I'm gonna
Yeah,
spool up
bit
now.
on the
I'm gonna spool up.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
so don't look it up in advance. We are going to be watching the games and trying to see if we can judge how tall these players are. It's kind of a surprise, actually.
If
How
you
tall
want us
are
to
you,
guess any,
Trista? 5'3"?
I'm 5'5".
No way. You guys need to go measure yourselves. You guys are lying on your driver's
We'll
license.
post some validation photos, okay?
Yeah,
Katie.
I want Christina. Anyone go get a meter stick and get Christina to measure you. I don't trust anyone but Christina on this. So Kylie's saying she's 5'6". Trista's saying what, 5'5"?
Yes.
Okay. You guys are like my sister. My sister says she's 5'6", and I laugh. I'm gonna measure myself. I think I might push 5'4", actually.
You're just
okay.
small. It's okay. It's okay to be small.
I don't remember being
Wow,
small.
stop
You
calling me
guys.
small, Trista.
She's the size of Danielle Vanderdonk, at least. That's okay.
Oh, perfect size. That's right.
Perfect size, remember? That's
You
so
little
funny.
pocket-sized humans.
We're nippy and fast.
Exactly.
That's true.
So that's not a bad thing.
So if you do want us
5'6".
to like guess the height of any player, you let us know. Just
Send the entries
Ask
in.
us.
That's a fun one, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
And I
one.
also would like to know who else thinks that you two are 5'6" and 5'5".
Yeah, guess our heights too.
Well, I mean, I do think it's okay to round up. You don't want me to say like 5'4" and 3/4. It's weird.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all for listening to Boots, your go-to podcast for all things women's football. Please subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple TV, or YouTube, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. And please continue to listen to us and follow us on Instagram, Boots_KTK.
Whoa.
Thank you. Bye.
Woo!
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.